Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm Christine Kidder-Graves. I'm an executive career coach and mindset coach, and I work with marketing and sales executives or revenue producing leaders to have work that works for them. And I have clients that I work with that are in transition and not in transition. But today, I'm going to talk about elevating your LinkedIn profile. It's critical. I want everyone to have a LinkedIn profile that reflects your one-of-a-kind brand. Why should you even care? Why is this important? Well, and that's the first bullet point on what I told you I would give you today. It's important because it can help you in so many ways. It can help opportunities easily find you. You know, even when you're not looking for something, if there's a great opportunity out there that would be an excellent match for you, wouldn't you want them to find you easily on LinkedIn? And you might wonder, well, who's going to be finding me on LinkedIn? I attended an HR update about a couple of weeks ago. And even though I think for many of you, you feel the job market is tight, you're having a hard time getting interviews, it's challenging, employers are having a hard time finding people too. They really are. And the fact that there's so many people in the marketplace, they're having a hard time finding the right skills that are a match for them, and also to, the people who will be a good fit on their team. So you want to make it as easy as possible for those opportunities to find you. And think about it, whenever you go to Google, typically you're looking for something. And what if someone were to Google you? And you should even just Google yourself right now just to see what comes up. When you Google yourself, and you need to have an awareness about this because this is your digital footprint. If you're not aware of this, then you need to get aware, because there could be things out there about you that you're not aware of. And your LinkedIn profile is going to be near the top. That's going to be one of the top things that people go to immediately. And I'm just going to talk about the elephant in the room. I think there are a lot of executives who are not on LinkedIn, and they're missing the boat. They're totally missing the boat, because they could be forwarding their brand, getting their brand even more out there, also helping the company that they're part of, the team that they're leading. And that's why you are at a disadvantage in so many ways if you don't elevate your LinkedIn profile. So I am referring to my notes, because I don't have everything memorized, even though I've talked about this so many times. But I just wanted to really stress that first point of how you really need to have your LinkedIn profile representing you in the way you want it to represent you. You don't want something out there that's not representing you correctly, right? And it's a free website. It's a free website. And if you're not really leveraging it, you're leaving money on the table. You may not think of it that way, but you are leaving money on the table by not leveraging that free website to help you in your career, help your brand get out there, and to have more opportunities. Brand clarity is something that I talk about, and that's one of the things that I promised in this training. You need to have brand clarity. If you don't know what your brand is, and often when I talk with new people, they tell me they don't have a brand. They don't know what their brand is. You need to have clarity on it, because if you don't know what your brand is, how is anyone else supposed to know what your brand is? And you might think that, well, Christine, I don't have a brand. Everybody has a brand. That's baloney. You do have a brand. Ask the people who have worked with you. Ask your old bosses. What do you think my brand is? How would you describe it? And they might be like, well, what do you mean? What's a brand? Not everyone may know what that is, but it's what it's like to work with you, what it feels like to work with you. What's the experience of working with you? Think about those big brands out there that we are familiar with, that everyone knows, like Michael Jordan, Oprah, Martha Stewart, Harley Davidson, Tiffany's. Those evoke feelings, okay? And we need to take those and transfer them to us in our work. And with my past in recruiting, there's still people that I remember interviewing and what it was like to interview them and then hire them and eventually work with them. So that's a feeling. And that's what brand is all about to me. That's how I define it. The way I define it may not be the traditional or the way you expert marketers apply brand in your work, but I take it because it's about who you are in the workplace and the value that you provide. How are you invaluable to others? And again, if you don't have brand clarity, and if you're not clear on how you want to use your brand, then you're going to struggle in your job search, and you're also going to struggle in your career. You want to make sure that you have clarity in both of those areas. Okay. So that's important. And I do have a presentation here that I'm going to take you through, but I just wanted to touch upon that. And then I also want to run you through a quick exercise to help you evaluate your clarity in your brand. So right now, and you can even close your eyes if you want, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your clarity in your brand? And another way of thinking about this is if someone were to just walk up to you and say, hey, describe your brand to me. What is it? What would you say? Do the words easily come to you, or are you really kind of stuck? How are you invaluable to others? How do you serve others? What's your superpower? One of my awesome connections, Sylvia, is really great at asking people, hey, what's your superpower? All right, what is your superpower? So you can think of it that way. Absolutely, that works. So think about that. And then my second question for you is, how do you rate your clarity in that next role for you? And I like to think of it as your next ideal role. Like, what would be the next great fit for you? Because what would be a fit for you now is different than where you were a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever. Okay. So it's important to look at right now where you're at. How do you rate your clarity in that next ideal role on a scale from 1 to 10? Okay. So that's important. Now, if your clarity isn't high in either one of those, if it's not at like a 9 or a 10, then you need work. You need to do the work. You really need to do work to get your clarity higher in both of those things. Okay. And I will be talking about that too. But I'm going to proceed here with my little presentation for you. And I have to admit, this is like the first time I'm doing this with StreamYard. I use StreamYard to do this. And this is the first time I'm actually like sharing my screen. So hopefully I can do it successfully. We'll give it a whirl. This is just a little bit about me. Some of you may not be familiar with me. So, but I'm in the Chicago area, if that matters to anyone. And my background is in human resources. So, but I did a career pivot myself. Oops, sorry. I did a career pivot myself pretty early on in my career, only like 7-8 years into my career, because I had my education in accounting and finance, and I was able to pivot into human resources through recruiting. And I always had recruiting be a part of my job, and I loved it. And now I'm an executive career and mindset coach, helping individuals to, really have the work that works for them. This is my favorite quote: be yourself, everyone else is taken. I want you to remember this quote from Oscar Wilde, because this to me nails brand. You need to be yourself, and it's there's no one else like you. So how are you different? And you need to be communicating how you're different, because that's how you're going to stand out from everyone else. Okay, so this is going to help you in getting better brand clarity. Okay. And even, I mean, I like to call this pre-work. This is like pre-work before, absolutely before doing a job search. Okay. And if you're not in job search mode, just do this anyway. You need to be clear on what your 5 strengths are. Think of them as the pillar for your brand. All right. And you can also look at where you were in the past. You can certainly look at any past assessments that you've done. And assessments I speak of are like DISC or StrengthsFinder, Myers-Briggs. You can certainly use the ones from the past. And then really, I encourage you to do a current assessment, because that takes a picture of where you're at right now. And I'm a big proponent of the StrengthsFinder assessment, and I use that in my work with my clients. So you can certainly do that as well to get greater clarity. But you need to identify, you need to be clear on what your 5 strengths are. And then you can take it one step further and you can develop a star story for each strength. So what's the strength and the task and the action and the result of that one example? Story is very powerful, and star stories are extremely powerful, because your strengths are the pillars of your brand. And then if you can communicate to me how you use those strengths and through the power of story, then I remember you so much more clearly compared to other people. And the people that I remember from my recruiting days, for the interviews I remember, and those were people that did a great job of telling a story and illustrating their work experience to me. I throw this in here because this is another reason why brand is so important. We spend so much of our lives at work. So I really don't want you to discount brand. I don't want you to discount LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, again, is an excellent tool to help you in your career. But if you don't have brand clarity, how are you going to communicate your brand through your profile? Okay. If you do have brand clarity, if you're pretty high in those 2 areas that I outlined, then you need to communicate that in your LinkedIn profile, which most people are not doing. So again, don't forget, you need to have clarity on how you want to use your brand. How do you want to use it? And that's what is your ideal role? And this is how I have it defined. It's work where you feel invaluable, fulfilled, you're well paid, you're aligned with your purpose, and your light is shining. I like to think of you as a light, because you're really being yourself in the workplace. You're able to, do that Oscar Wilde quote that I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, which I love. Now, yes, there are going to be challenges. We have to acknowledge this. So, and again, many of you are having a really tough time in the job market, especially a lot of marketing leaders. There seems to be not as many positions out there for you. And I think that you're getting really banged up in your job search. And these are some of the things too that are also interfering, and that are, I view them as separating you from your brand. It's like you're getting disconnected from your brand because you're going through this obstacle course. Or, think about you're driving along in a car with your brand, and your career is going along great. And then you go into an accident and you lose sight of your brand. You've got to get realigned with it. It's very important. It's extremely important. So that's that. And then just acknowledge the noise, all the other things that are out there, the news and media, the pandemic. I mean, we've been through so many different things. We can't control those outside variables, but how you respond, remember, how you respond versus react really makes a difference. So that's what we need to stay focused on. Okay, so now with your LinkedIn profile, I gave you an exercise or some tips. I said, do some assessments, Look at past assessments just to have a reference point. Do an assessment for now if you haven't done an assessment in a while. And I'm happy to help you too. I encourage you, if you're watching this and we've never done a phone call together, let's definitely do that. Well, first, I want you to connect with me, because when you connect with me, when we become first degree connections, then you have full access to my entire network. And I believe I have over 24,000 connections. So it might be over 25. So you have, number one, when you connect with me, you have full access to my connections. But then if you're a connection, we need to have a conversation. I want to have a live conversation with you. And it doesn't matter where you are. I think I was going to be talking with someone in Austria today, so that's exciting. But when we have a live conversation, then this is the best way that I can be of service to you. Okay. I do a limited number. Often people want me to do an audit of their LinkedIn profile, which I typically do charge for that. However, with new connections, if we haven't talked yet, I might be able to offer you a complimentary, one of the few complimentary spots that I have to do that LinkedIn audit. And we also do a strategy session, because doing the LinkedIn audit alone won't be valuable to you unless we talk about your strategy, because it's like, what do you want accomplished? What do you want to do? That's important. I need to understand that. And then I can, do an audit of your LinkedIn profile and give you feedback on that. That's important. Okay. So with your profile, you really need to be aware of these things. This is very important. LinkedIn is a must if you're in job search mode. And for those who are not in job search mode, you still need to be paying attention to your LinkedIn profile. It's your digital footprint. Again, you don't want something out there on the internet that doesn't represent you well. And it's free. Why wouldn't you fully leverage this free website that you have that easily connects you with the people that you would want to be connected with? Why wouldn't you do that? It's so easy to do that. And I love showing my clients how to do that. So you have to view it as a landing page. It's important. Here's the checklist. Number one, your headshot, I recommend, is a best practice. Have it be from the past year. So have that be current. All right. And I actually need to edit my slide, because we used to have the option of having little videos in our profile photo, and LinkedIn took that away. So we're not doing that, but make sure that your headshot is current. A banner photo that represents your brand. Don't discount that. Too many people they ignore that, and that's not good, because that's another great way to convey your brand. Headline. The headline is very important, and too many people are too brief on this. It's a summary of your brand, so it needs to be complete. And LinkedIn gives us a good amount of room for this. You want to make sure it's a kick-ass summary of your brand, because it's at the top of your page, and people are deciding in 4 seconds if they're going to read your profile or not, or if they're going to go on to the next person, if they may want to contact you. So it needs to be awesome. It needs to be a perfect 10. And I love working on that with my clients, to have it as close to a perfect 10 as possible, because that can make or break someone reading your profile and reaching out to you for an opportunity. Okay. Or for you sales executives out there, for that new prospect looking at you and being like, yeah, I want to talk with this person. I'm looking forward to talking with them. So the featured section is important, because that's an easy way to learn more about you. The about section is where you share your brand story. The experience section, too many of you are kind of just not doing anything with the experience section. And that's where you show the results that you've achieved. So don't discount that section. It's an important section. Plus, it goes into keyword optimization, the experience section, the about section, and your LinkedIn headline, along with keywords. Make sure you have 100, not keywords, sorry, skills loaded. It used to be a limit of 50, and now it's 100. Make sure you have 100 skills loaded for the best visibility that you can have. Recommendations, giving someone else's perspective of you. That's great. Have at least one recommendation from this year. If you don't, get it. And then posts. Posts give you visibility. Doing posting and commenting on other posts. If you're not ready to post your own content, at least start by commenting. And to leave good comments, ask a question. Ask a thoughtful question to start conversation. Here's an overview of my approach and my program, just so you have it. So again, I want you to reflect on your brand clarity, and then I want you to put together a plan for how you're going to improve your brand clarity and also have it reflected in an improved LinkedIn profile. And I'm here to help you absolutely with that. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. The time just flew. Also, too, we're going to put 2 worksheets in the comments for you because I want you to have these worksheets. One is to establish the habit of using LinkedIn regularly, because even if you can just be on it for 5 minutes a day to start, that would be good. And maybe just start with looking at your profile to see what updates you need to make. So you can do that. So that will be one of the sheets to help you with establishing that habit. And then the other thing is, the other worksheet is to help you in connecting with people and to track your connection activity. You need to measure it, because if you're not measuring it, you're not really managing it, and you need to measure it. So I'd like to share that with the job seekers, especially, because that way you can really start measuring your connection work. And that's pretty much it. Thanks again for attending. And again, I invite you, if we haven't done a LinkedIn audit strategy call, I do have a limited number of those that I can do for free, because typically I do charge for them. So you're going to want to reach out to me. You can message me, or even in the comments say that you want to do that, and we can get you hooked up with one. Because as long as you're a new connection, as long as you've connected with me here on this platform. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.